I'm Kiomia McLean and I work with Alliance of Women Advocating for Change. So today I'm here to show you where AWAC started from. The place you see here is the safe space that we started with. This place is called Katwe.
AWAC basically was founded on the fact that there was the critical need to coordinate the marginalized female sex workers in all their diversity.
So we had started having that vision of starting a sex work organization which is going to support sex workers also, to reduce the stigma, to reduce the vulnerability, to reduce the socio-economic injustices, because we are facing a lot of challenges as sex workers in Uganda.
We chose this location because of its convenience. It's located within the hotspots, and we have over 900 hotspots within Katwe. So in terms of accessibility by our community or our target community, who are sex workers and women who use drugs, it was very much accessible. We wanted to bring out the identity, one, that sex workers are not victims. We are women just like any other person. We are community members just like any other person. And for us to change that narrative, it meant that we had to sit in our own position. We were using our small savings to get into such a space.
We started in a single room where I used to go and mobilize my fellow sex workers from different hotspots.
It was a tiny office. There was a lot of noise, and it was very uncomfortable.
And our principle that when we started organizing was about rights, not rescue. And the reason we chose that was, how do we reclaim our power as sex workers in a mainstream space, in a community, in a world, in a Ugandan or a society where sex work is illegal or it's criminalized.
Most of the sex workers in the peri-urban rural areas were left behind, and they were always on the margins. So that was basically one of the motivation that inspired AWAC to come together as community members to organize themselves and put a brick on the movement building for the female sex workers.
We started reaching out to different partners, mapping different stakeholders, having special days for the children of sex workers, mobilizing fellow sex workers in all these hotspots. We mapped hotspots.
So it was critical amongst the female sex workers because they were voiceless, because they would not participate in the critical advocacy spaces to articulate their issues, call for action. So they needed actually a platform that would elevate their voices, but also try to bridge those gaps and connect them to the strategic decision makers so that their needs can also be integrated in the mainstream HIV response.
For us, the issue of stigma was too much. It would also trigger the issue of emotional breakdown, trauma, or psychological issues.
Before AWAC came in, sex workers were not going to, let's say, DICs, pharmacies, or SA facilities to get services.
When we started at the drop-in center, HIV prevalence among female sex workers was very high. When you could test 100 female sex workers, at least you could get around 5 with HIV.
In those hotspots, the KPs, they were very green. They don't want even to know about their status.
Nagenda joining AWAC ebiseera ebyo nali nfunye akawuka naye nga simanyi. Kati AWAC bwe nategeerera nti nfunye akawuka ne bankansolinga ne ntandika eddagala.
They used to abort and they use unsafe methods, which is very dangerous, and so many died.
Sex workers experience intersecting vulnerabilities. I mean, issues. One can be gender-based violence, another one can be basically rape. But the public does not accept that actually a sex worker can actually be raped.
Nanize kunoonya bwa busigalo. Nagukira Katwe, mwami nantwala. Kati musajja we nasule we nanfosinga nankozesa. Nenfuna olubuto kati ngabeera kuba ng'ate n'embeera gy'olimu si nnungi nga takulekera kyakulya waka.
From that background, we thought it was important to open up, create that space where a sex worker walks in. If you want to cry, it is normal.
Nali simanyi nti waliyo ekitongole ekisobola okuvaayo ne kirwanirira omuntu w'owansi. Nga n'olompa omusajja mwerosi bayinza okugamba gw'alina empisa embi.
No one was fighting for us. They beat you today, they take your money, they take your phone, you have nowhere to report.
Ekirala AWAC yatuyigiriza okwekkiririzaamu. Eyo ku bitundu gye tubeera, abantu ab'ebitundu batusosola olw'okubanga baba kumanyinga malaaya. Malaaya talina kyayogera, malaaya talina kyatiisa. naye kati ku bitundu gye tubeera abamu tulinda ku bukulembeze.
So many of the sex workers fell in love with our programs. And indeed, they came to us. It was at that time that we were humbled to get in touch or to be visited by American Jewish World Services, our first donor.
Maclean had already mobilized AJWS, the first donor, who took me back to school, because for me, I could not even know how to read, even writing. It was a big challenge. Even negotiation for sex, it was hard for me in English. I used to get those high-level men, and where I could speak English, and then also I said the words.